What is the nature of gratitude, especially when it comes to being a follower of Jesus? A lot of churches have this theology that everything that happens, no matter what, is under God's control, and that makes it good, and that means you should feel happy. And not only is that entirely mentally unhealthy and bad for your feelings, but it's also not scriptural and not theologically sound according to the traditions of the church. So it begs the question, what is the nature of gratitude? And that's what we're talking about this week.
Kindred UMC live show features adults discussing adult topics, occasionally with adult language. It may not be suitable for young viewers. Please use discretion before watching.
Hello all. Welcome once again to the Kindred UMC pre-recorded live show, coming to you not live but pre-recorded from my front room, aka Kindred Studio A. My name is Chris Hayden. I am the pastor of Kindred UMC.
My name is Ann, and I'm the treasurer for Kindred UMC.
My name is Braden. I am the trustees chair for Kindred UMC.
These are all correct things. I'm so glad you knew what you were. By the way, I haven't said it, but is the nose ring, is the nose piercing new?
Since June.
Since June. Okay, so I just haven't been paying attention. That's
on this side of me.
That's par for the course. Yeah, I've just been on your left side for the past six months.
It's fair.
Yes, so we're in kind of not really a series, but just in a little mini season of Thanksgiving, of gratitude. Please check out last week's, is it over here or over there? I can't remember. Last week's video where we talked about our new partnership with Zoe Empowers and why we're doing it and what it's all about. It's a noble cause, and we encourage you to give generously to it. AKA give generously to us. All your proceeds will go directly to help other people. We have our bills paid because of an investment fund. So we are continuing our Thanksgiving trajectory, and we're going to talk specifically about gratitude. So let me just start broadly before we get into the text. What's been kind of just like, you both have kind of been around church folks for a while. What's your take on like theology and gratitude? What's the proper Christian response?
What comes up is not the correct response, but what I have experienced as poor response, which is being told by lovely old ladies that you should just be thankful because you get what you get.
Can you repeat what you said, because I interrupted you? But I do appreciate that you read between the lines of my question.
Yeah, it's the like, you should be grateful for this, like a guilt trip. It's like gratitude is like the button of the guilt trip.
Guilt and gratitude.
You should be grateful for this, like. That's a good thing. Don't waste it. You should be happy what you got.
You ungreat.
Like Jesus is alive, and you should be fucking grateful.
Yeah. Okay. That is also I grew up in a fairly progressive church, so that's not what I grew up with, but I have experienced as I've become a pastor.
It only takes like one or two to be like,
wait, that's what you think? That's what I'm supposed to. That's what you think I'm supposed to think?
And that's the like cultural response, which is different than like what is preached is very like, and we are like so grateful that the sky is blue and the sun doth shine and like all ye praise, which is, and then it's like, be grateful, be quiet, be good.
I literally was just at a celebration yesterday where the sun doth not shine.
It happens.
Like that's the thing. Mm-hmm. That is kind of the problem with it. Like, hey man.
And also.
But the sun comes up every morning. No, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, like technically it does, but like technically it never comes up because you can like get into the day. Like, things go bad sometimes.
Yeah.
Anne, I see you nodding a lot.
Yeah, well, because I've definitely experienced that as well. But I mean, the only thing that I can remember, there was always the be grateful for what you have kind of deal. But I mean, as far as gratitude and tithing and stuff just kind of comes to me. And I remember it being a big, like, you must give. And it's like, whoa, man, I got like bills and I'm poor because I'm young and stupid. And
it's funny how gratitude is often associated with, and give us your stuff.
Yeah. And like it.
You should be thankful. Give me that.
Yeah. You have a roof over your head still? That's great.
Like, well, wait a minute. You should be thankful for what you have. Why do you need my things? You should be grateful. Yeah. Gratitude and give me your stuff often goes together in the church. It's weird.
Yeah. Because it's almost like like the continuous circle, right? Like, I'm really glad you have that, but also,
Can I have a little piece of it?
yeah,
Give
Just
me
a little bit.
I wish it was, can I have a little piece of it?
yeah, that's the
10%?
problem.
It's usually like, give me it. Give me a piece of it.
Like-
I have experienced churches that are much more demanding about it than
That's
can I
fair.
have some of that.
It's the like you should want to. Like you should want to give me 10% of it.
Yeah, the fact that you don't want to give me it,
Like oh,
like what's going on with you? How is it with your soul,
right?
Yeah.
my dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we all kind of agree there's a cultural problem within
Yeah.
the church as a whole.
There's a better way.
Certainly exceptions to that rule. Again, the church I grew up in, thankfully, was different than that. They did a better job. But I've also encountered that. I've experienced that with a lot of churches I've pastored where that was kind of the finance committee's strategy. It's like, hey man, I don't think you're inspiring people to help us. You're not helping the cause, man. Like this is not going well. So I want to look at what I think is a good example of scriptural gratitude. It's another healing miracle, which is kind of a theme that I've just kind of chosen for this mini series. And so this is when Jesus heals 10 lepers. It's from the Gospel of Luke. This is the book of Luke, chapter 17. Doing this with handheld mics is always a challenge.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Mic stand? I'll be your mic stand.
Chapter 17. Oh, thank you. If I need it, I will ask for it. Thank you very much. I don't have any page turns on this one, I think. So I think I'm good. Chapter 17, Gospel of Luke, verses 11 through 19. They sound like this. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through a region between Samaria and Galilee. Samaria is in the north, Galilee is slightly further south. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Leprosy is a disease where parts of you fall off if it goes untreated. And also it's contagious by touch, which is important for, like, don't touch these people, you will then get it. So, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. When he saw them, he said to them, Go and show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself. That just means like bow down to your knee. Yeah. Prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. If you are curious about Samaritans, go look at our other videos where I explain. Samaritans are like, the Jews don't like them very much, and there's a history there. But Jesus likes to use them as examples of...
Be nice to everybody.
Right, yeah. Jesus likes to take the people who nobody likes and be like, yeah, they're the real ones who are doing it for real. And this is another example of that. So he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? Then he said to him, Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well. So, a couple of things here. First of all, the Samaritan thing that we talked about. Isn't it interesting that it was the foreigner who comes back and he is the example of what we're supposed to emulate according to the Gospel of Luke? The second thing is, so we've got kind of a double outcast here. We've got a leper and a Samaritan.
We call that intersectionality.
Intersectionality. Yeah, like it's
Sorry.
according to the cultural understanding, because you remember the Gospel of Luke was written decades after the events actually happened. So it's important to understand that the people who are reading this they're already part of a church. Like the church already exists. Jesus has died and resurrected. All these events have already happened. So the writer's writing this in a way to teach a story to the people who are coming to the church. It's not arbitrary, it's not accidental. The story is written in a specific way. There's a reason that the only one that comes back is as a Samaritan, and that the healing that happens is leprosy. And I think that meaning is outcast of outcasts, just the ones that you would least expect to be the example. The second thing is a cultural understanding of what leprosy means. So, and I have talked about this before, but so do you know what would have been understood about leprosy in this from a cultural standpoint? What interpretation would people have if somebody was diagnosed with leprosy?
It reminds me of the HIV scares in the like early decades.
We do be human, don't we? We do
Right.
have a tendency to repeat this, don't we?
It happens. And just like the like, oh, we don't understand this, but it looks bad and it's those people and I don't want anything to do with them. It's simple, it's immoral, like hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah, so what was the theological interpretation of the HIV? And it wasn't even called HIV at first. It was called like gay immuno. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But it was specifically
Gay
like
AIDS,
gay
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you remember what the
I was
theological interpretation of that was?
Not around to know the answer to that question.
Right, it is.
But,
this was back in the 80s, yeah.
But I mean, like, was it different than what I perceived to be like?
No, I
everyone else
imagine
just
you
like,
had-
oh, it's like sinful and gay, and this is like God's curse on the gay people for
Right.
being gay.
Yes, that like so that was the interpretation.
Yeah. It's your fault that you sinned,
Like
and so
this
you have
is
disease.
God trying to tell society that gay people are wrong,
Yeah.
and he's cursing gay people with this horrible disease until it became.
More scientifically researched and involved other people that weren't gay. or white.
I was gonna say until it became a straight problem.
A straight person
Right,
problem.
you know, like then all of a sudden it was like, oh, maybe it's not.
Maybe we should look into this.
Maybe it's not just gay.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's not God's curse. Maybe it's maybe.
But that scare of like, oh, like if you touch them, like they could spit out, like any little thing could happen, and you could get it too.
Yeah. Nobody
And, like,
understood how it was transmitted.
That same
Right.
thing with leprosy of like they could look at you wrong and you could get it too.
Yes.
Like
So
super big distance.
all of that exactly applies.
Mm-hmm.
Leprosy. The reason you have leprosy is because you or your family or your ancestors have committed horrible sin, and God is punishing you. God has punished these lepers
You and
with
everyone
a
around.
horrible disease. That's exactly what the Pharisees were preaching. So Pharisees are the priests. When it says go show yourself to the priests, he's talking about the Pharisees. They're the lawmakers, the law teachers. Sadducees, you may have heard that word in the Bible. They're the followers. They're the disciples of the Pharisees. So there's the Pharisees who are the law teachers. They're the priests. And they have been teaching, you have leprosy because of your sins or the sins of your family. And you earned it. You deserve it. God proves that you deserve it because you have it. So what do you make of? What does it mean when Jesus starts healing these diseases?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around like the theory that it would be something that they like, what?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, and it's easy to go like, how could people think that way? But we think that way right now.
yeah, no, that's true.
Like it's a human thing. Like we are always this far away from judging. I mean, and think about homelessness. Think about the housing crisis in Orlando. Of course they're homeless. They're horrible people. They earned it.
Orlando,
They can't feed themselves because they're drug addicts and they're immoral, horrible people.
we also had a big leprosy scare recently, and we're top in the country for leprosy cases.
Oh well, yeah.
Like 2 months ago.
I'm not a medical professional, so that's like
That's an
I can't
NPR story.
speak to that. But that is crazy, and it's just a matter of time before some conservative preacher starts saying
No.
the reason is because we've gone so liberal, or whatever,
NPR told me all about that last month. It's pretty
Cool.
recent.
Wow.
Anyways, but back on topic.
Well, but it gave me time to cook. I think there is something to it's a human thought process, right? Like you and I have had the conversation of like you're trying to make sense out of the senseless, and these
Yes.
guys are just trying to. We don't understand it, so we're going to make sense of it. Which obviously you're cursed because
Yeah.
you did something horrible. So for Jesus
It's-
to come in and like rescue them out of that. I mean, we're breaking the mold, guys.
We have this now like idea of like I'm like my like breaking generational curses, or like I'm trying to like restore generational trauma and like get my family out of this cycle, and like like the weight that carries now, I feel like is similar then.
I have always kind of, not always, but in my preaching career have always maintained the theory that generational curses and demons are very, very great, excellent metaphors for abuse and trauma and mental illness. Like, how do you defeat a demon? You name it. You drag it into the light so that it can be witnessed and seen. Like, how do you heal abuse and trauma? You name it, and you have somebody compassionately witness it, and like that begins the healing process. You know, takes the power out of it. So like I think ancient people knew what they were talking about when they started doing this. But you know, it's a I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a great quote, and it's essentially the essence of it is, you know, we think that these ancient people were stupid enough to take these stories literally, but what's really going on is that we in the modern time are stupid enough to take them literally. Like,
I love
we
That's
think,
the truth.
we think that they were talking literally and didn't understand metaphor, and like what's actually happened is the exact opposite. Like, no, these ancient people had wonderful, excellent, very helpful metaphors for trauma and mental health and abuse and generational curses, and
based in cultural knowledge that you didn't bother to look up or listen to someone else talk about who knew more.
Think of, just like look at it and think about it. Don't take it so literally. Think about it, what really is going on. So the fact that Jesus is actually healing leprosy, what causes leprosy according to the culture?
The great sins of your past.
Right. So if he's healing it, what is he doing?
I mean,
He's removing the great sins of the past.
He's absolving
it's
them.
this like I am the way, the truth. Like come back to be very literal.
So one, he's forgiving them, absolving them, and like that's why he says he doesn't like lay on hands, and he doesn't like make mud with spit like he does in other story. Like he says, go show yourselves to the priests.
He's like, done. I have nothing else to do. Go show evidence.
The priests who have been ostracizing you and calling you sinful, horrible outcasts, go show yourself. Go show yourself to them. And like on the way, they become healed. So he's making he's not just like healing physical ailment. He's making a statement about one, his authority. This is like an inference and kind of an implicit claim to, I am the Messiah. I have the authority to forgive sin. So
we love claiming power.
Yeah. So eat that, first of all. And then second of all, he's saying to the priests, like, these people are part of the kingdom of heaven. And you don't have the authority to exclude them. There is an authority higher than you that includes them. And then to the main point of our Thanksgiving special, one who comes back, who is not just a leper, but a Samaritan, the outcast of the outcast, the one who has it the worst, is the one who it occurs to come back and say, thank you. Like to give praise, to celebrate what's happened. And this is, we started this with like, okay, what do churches kind of like say about gratitude? And it's like, be grateful in all things. No matter what happens, always smile. And that is wrong. That is wrong. That is not theology, or at least not Christian theology. That is not the Bible. The Bible has lament and grief and sorrow and cursing the heavens, and God is in the midst of all of those interactions. True gratitude, the practice of gratitude, comes not from ignoring what goes bad, but from acknowledging what's bad and celebrating what is joyous and great and good. Because, and this was a conversation we were literally just having.
I was like, I'm ready for it. This is the point that I was here for.
Yeah, like you can't numb one specific thing. If something goes bad, you can't just say, don't feel bad about that, without saying, also don't feel good about this.
And like, to reiterate the point, if you're like, I'm not going to feel bad about that, you rob yourself of the capacity to feel good about that. Even when you're trying to feel good about the thing you don't feel good about, like it just...
You can
less.
only numb everything. You can't numb specific things.
Yeah.
So like not feeling bad about something that has gone bad robs you of feeling joyous about other things, but also about that thing when it goes well.
Yeah.
Like the healing that takes place in this particular story, the gratitude comes from the person knowing how crappy the situation was. And it's like when it goes well, when God heals, suddenly that person is able to experience gratitude. And we need to balance this. Certainly if all you're doing is feeling ungrateful and resentful and everything sucks all the time, that may be depression, that may be an anxiety disorder, and it's time to talk to a professional. Like there is help out there. There are treatments for this, and you can seek those treatments. And you're not alone. You're one of a vast community who deals with this kind of stuff a lot. So like you're not alone. There is help out there. But also, if you never feel grief, if you never feel sorrow, maybe look at how often you also actually feel joy. Like, because all the modern psychological research that I know about, and also, by the way, it lines up with scriptural truth, says that you can't not feel bad without not feeling good. You just feel numb if you do that. And like that's the pervasive kind of like problem that a lot of people are really struggling with. That's the source of a lot of depression and anxiety, is numbness rather than sorrow. And it's like, it's counterintuitive, but the answer may be to actually allow yourself to feel sorrow so that you can also feel joy and celebration. I saw you, it felt like you had something to add. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I mean, I resonate a lot with that. I feel like I've numbed a lot of things, and like gratitude's like the like trope of like, you should start a gratitude journal and write it down. But like, these are the things that really help. And I should probably try it because it's totally me.
It actually like scientifically works.
It really does, and
like
like,
it
it's
really
about time.
like if you actually start to list out things that you're grateful for,
Yeah.
and allow yourself to celebrate those joys, it will lead to grief and sorrow also on the things that have hurt you. Like that is kind of the natural byproduct of that. So be ready for that. That's coming, but don't panic. That's part of it. That's good. That is a good part of it. Like, but yeah, gratitude absolutely as a practice works. It manages anxiety. It manages depression. It's very effective.
Well, and just as you were saying that, I think there is a level of not being the old lady too, though, right? Of like, oh, well, you should just be grateful because you woke up today. And it's like, yeah, but
We're not that grateful. By the time it's come and
Tell
gone.
that to somebody who's suicidal.
right.
Like, you should be grateful. You were like, actually, I'm not.
I think that,
Like, that's the problem that I'm struggling with.
and I think if you're on the other side of the fence, you're trying to help. You know, sometimes you got to get in the trenches with them instead of just being like, you should be happy. Come out here with me because I don't know how to get in there with you.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like, I think that's a big thing that people get intimidated by.
And this is speaking of a trope. Another trope is like, but I think it's absolutely true, and this is something we should practice. Let go of fixing.
True.
Let go of fixing. If somebody's really struggling, don't tell them not to feel that way.
Yeah.
Don't tell them to just be grateful instead.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, like, man, that sounds really difficult. It's okay to say, sounds like you need help. It sounds like you can I take you? I'll give you a ride to a professional.
We can look it up together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know the answers, but I'll sit with you while we Google. I'll be someone you can bounce ideas off of. Like that. And that's the way Jesus treats people. Talk less about Jesus and talk more like Jesus. Treat people the way that Jesus treated people. And that's how Jesus treated people. Now, it does help to have magic powers. But you have magic powers, is my point. You have the magic power of listening to somebody and not judging them. You have the power. It's so silly, but like, you have the power of friendship. It is magic. It's life-saving. It's miraculous, man. It really, really is truly magic. The power to sit and listen to somebody and say, I don't know, but I'm not leaving. It's magic. It's miraculous.
Yeah, active listening, curiosity, like time spent.
Yeah, this is how Jesus treated people. With empathy, with curiosity, questions about who they are and why they are, no judgment, and at the end, ultimately working to include them in the kingdom, in the community, in the relationship.
And disable the systems of oppression that kept them down.
Well, yeah. That's the part that got him killed. But he did come back to life. So, like, there is something going on there, too, you know? Like, it's worth standing up for. It's worth taking a dive for. It, like, if there's a greater kingdom, if there's a faith in a bigger thing. Like, yeah. So, So we've done a lot. I'm not sure how specific we got. But this has been our Thanksgiving. Practice gratitude. Practice empathy and curiosity with people who are having a hard time finding something to be grateful for. And if you're one of those people who can't find anything to be grateful for, it's okay to grieve. And Kindred UMC is a safe place to do that. So please consider reaching out. You have all of our contact information. If you need help, we're a safe place to ask for it, and we'll try our best to meet you there. I want to lift up our partnership with Zoe Empowers. If you are doing well enough to donate, know that 100% of your donations will go to support a community in a third world country, help them to learn entrepreneurial skills, and then to send them home to be a kind of a financial force, an entrepreneurial force in their home community to give employment to other people. They have an incredible success rate, so please check them out and consider donating. And with that, I've been I'm on the wrong channel.
Bummer.
This has been Kindred UMC. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
A blue car.